Hello, everyone. I'll be starting with the session soon. Just 1 minute of wait time for everyone to quickly join. Hi, Sharanya. Okay, so just another 1 minute and we'll be going ahead with the session. Okay, guys. So before going ahead and getting started with the session, can you just quickly confirm that I'm clearly audible and even the video is clearly visible? You can ping yes and no, that's it in the chat so that I can just get a confirmation. Yes, guys. Am I audible? Yes. Okay. Thanks, Nupriya. Thanks, Saurav. Thanks, Keshav. So yeah, I am audible as you confirmed, and I have waited also for let people join eventually as I go ahead with the session. So hello, everybody. Very good evening. And this is Pragya here. I am working in Great Learning, and today I'm going to talk about one of the interesting topic in Java, that is your packages and interfaces in Java. Okay, so this topic or session is going to be useful not only for the beginners but also for the people who are programming already in Java, because today with the help of coding I'll be using an IDE to code, and with the help of that all the tips and tricks, all those small bits and pieces about interface and package I'm going to discuss in the session. So I just hope that you stay tuned till the end of the session and try to see what all I have to tell you in under this topic today. We'll be having an interactive session altogether because it's not like I'll be just teaching everything in the beginning and then at the end I'm just gonna take up questions. You can put up your questions after each topic, and in between also, like suppose I am explaining something and you didn't understood or you want some extra question onto it, you have some extra question onto it, you can put it in the chat box. I will keep on looking into the chats as well. And if there is any question, I'll take it up then and there itself. Okay. So, guys, get started with the session. So, as I have already told, the agenda of the session is going to be I'll talk about packages and more about interfaces. Okay. So, talking about packages first. So, what is a package? Whenever we study any object-oriented programming language, okay, concept of package plays an important role there because it is an example or it is a proof, I can say, of one of the pillar of object-oriented principles, that is your encapsulation. Okay, so package is a encapsulation mechanism, meaning encapsulation meaning binding things together under one heading. Okay, so whenever you have to bind things or put things together under one folder, under one heading, under one file, then we use the concept of packages. Okay, so it's a encapsulation mechanism. Encapsulation meaning is capsulating something. Capsulating means like a capsule we put inside so many granules, right, with different medicine effect, and that comes under one capsule, and that capsule together has some effect, medicinal effect. Similarly here also capsulation meaning we are capsulating everything inside one heading or one file, you can say, or one folder, you can say. So basically it is folders. If you look under on hard disk, once you create a package and you look under on your hard disk, you'll find it as a folder with that name, right? So it is like organizing, keeping things. It will help you to organize things, organize the code properly, so that it is more readable and maintainable. For example, there are so many inbuilt packages in Java, okay, which we have been using. One of the very, simple example of packages, java.util package, util, right? Most of you would have used. So java.util package, yes or not? java dot lang package. So these are what packages, meaning this is one folder where there will be so many classes, interfaces, then methods inside those classes and interfaces, and then enums, enumerators. Okay. Similarly, this package will also have classes, interfaces, and enumerators. Right. Then other methods and variables inside those classes and so on. Right. There can be a package inside a package also. Okay. So it's called sub package. Getting it? So, but basically, what package is now? That it is a encapsulating mechanism. Okay. Example of inbuilt packages, I gave you two here. Another are IO packages there, which has all the classes and interfaces which are required for performing input output operations. Similarly, there is SQL package. SQL package is responsible, or it has those classes and interfaces with the help of which we can perform database transactions, or we can have database connectivity. So related to that, all the classes and interfaces are put inside one folder, that is your SQL, and that is your package basically. Okay. Advantage of using package. First and foremost importance is your readability of the code is increased. Second important thing is maintainability is increased. Now, what is the meaning of this? You would have read so many places that, okay, what is the advantage of package? Readability, maintainability. But basically with example, I'm going to tell you what exactly is the meaning of this. Now, for example, suppose you want, a class to be defined, suppose, student. Okay. Again, after some time, you felt that, okay, for some other project, you wanted it to another class there also, in that project also, you wanted a class to have the same name as student. Will you be able to have if everything is put inside the same directory, inside the same folder? No. Two classes with the same name will not be allowed or permitted. So now package plays a role here. What we'll do is we'll put this inside two different package. This is package 1 and this is package 2. Now you can have two classes with the same name. Getting it? So this is one thing which package helps into. Another thing is readability improves, and going forward with the same reason, maintainability also improves. For example, like, everything is put inside same file, or under, you can say, same folder. Like one folder you open and you find that 200 files. Is that easy to read? Or is this easy to read that, okay, you opened one folder, inside that there were two subfolders, and in that subfolder, in this there were again two subfolders. Okay, in this suppose there was again two subfolders, and then 50 files were there in each, relevant to no its functionality. Like all these 50 files deals with same function, this 50 files deals with like somewhat similar kind of operation. This is easy to read, or putting all 200 files under same folder one folder is easy to read? Definitely this approach where there are four different folders with 50 lines of code is easy to read, right? So this is what packages helps in, that is your readability of the code increases. One readability increases is example was this example, right? Second is this example. Now with this, maintainability also improves. For example, if suppose later on after some point of time you had to change certain code inside, here in this package, only this package will be affected. You can just go directly to this package and then change the code there. You need not worry about all the other packages, right? But if it is in the same package, in the same folder, then all the lines will be somewhere affected, or has to be loaded or something. Correct? Here it becomes a more modular maintainability approach. So that's how maintainability improves. So this is all theoretical things till now. Okay. Now let me tell you a few practical things, meaning how you create the package. Okay. In Java, if you want to create package, how is that done? Okay. So nowadays, guys, what happens is even I use IDE, right? Some kind of integrated development environment we use, like Eclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ. We use these, right? And in this, creating package is like a very easy task. Just right click and create package. It creates a package inside any project folder, right? And then, you just to import that, you have to just link that with the current this thing. But if you're not using an IDE, then how things work? So to create a package, first of all, what you have to do is, like suppose this is the file which I'm going to write. Okay. In this, I have written class A. Inside this, I have defined a method, suppose void m1. Okay, this method is there. And then closing of class. Done. I mean, public static void main and all that is there. Okay, public static void main is there. And this is there. Now to create a package and put this code inside that package, what you have to do is, here in the beginning, the very first line should be a code that is package. Okay, package name, suppose pkg1. Okay, is the name of the package. Correct, Raju. Package is a word, keyword which has to be used. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, this should be the first line of your code. If you write this package pkg1 semicolon somewhere else, like after the class at the end, you will get a compile time error. Okay, so make sure this is the first line. Now, what will happen at the backend, guys? So whenever we write, so what we'll do to compile this, what is the Java no command? Java C space name of the file. Suppose the name of the file is a.java. Okay, so a.java will be written. You'll press enter. It will compile it successfully. After compilation, what happens at the backend? A.class file is created, right? Where this a.class file will be stored? In the current working directory. In the current working directory. I'm sorry for my handwriting if at all it's messy, but I'll try to be neat. Okay. So current working directory. Now how does compiler or how does JVM is knowing that this class file should be stored in current working directory? Which is the current working directory? That information we are only giving to JVM. How? By using no command over here. For example, if I write java c hyphen d dot and then a.java and then press enter. There is a difference in these two. In the first command, nothing is written over here, right? It's blank. It means what? JVM will understand that in the current working directory, wherever there was .java file, there itself I have to create .class file. Okay. So in this case, now what will happen? In the second case, in this case, what will happen is here I've written minus d, right? It means what? It is going to refer to this particular location. Okay. This can be any drive, like any C drive, D drive, E drive, like so many drives we have, hard disk drives I'm talking about. You can mention that over here. But make sure you're mentioning only that drive which is there on your laptop. If you mention something which is not there, it will throw a error here also. Okay. So Java C space minus D. So what will happen? This dot class file. Okay. So when you will, first thing is when you will write Java C hyphen D dot A dot Java. So what will happen in this case? This refers to the location, whichever is the destination location, I can say here, destination folder. Okay. Or drive, or it can be, or anything. You can provide a complete address link over here. This dot refers to current working directory again. Fine. If you are mentioning, suppose this as the same, what you can say, same drive where this .java file was. In that case, what will happen? That this will create first a package. Okay, that is pkg1 named folder will be created. Fine. Inside that, this .class file will be stored. Okay, inside this a.class file will be stored. Getting it? So the only difference is this. If there you have written package command here, it will first create this package and then its .class file will be shifted to this package. Getting it? This package can be in the current working directory. It can be somewhere specified destination as well. So these are the two codes which you can use. In this case, in the current working directory only it will create this folder. In this case, at the specified location it will create a new package or a folder. This one pkg1, the name which I have given. Is this clear and any doubt here? Okay, there is one thing to remember here, that is the order of the statements here. That is, first line should be always package keyword, and the name of the package, then semicolon. Second line should always be import. Whatever packages you want to import. Okay. Suppose java.io dot star. Sorry. Okay. Dot star. After that, you can have classes or interfaces and so on. Fine. You can't have this import also before package. So there's a few small things related to, how to create a package and what happens at the backend when we write a package keyword in our code file. Now, fine. If it's clear, if there is no doubt here, then I'll be moving ahead now to interfaces. Okay. So, okay. No doubt. Divyanshu, clear, ma'am. Okay. Fine. Okay, so let's get started with now interfaces. So guys, in interfaces, I'm really going to show you some coding, you can say tips and tricks, which is very small things, but if you take care of it while programming, you can really solve some complex, you can debug some complex codes very easily. Okay, so listen to this carefully, what I'm going to say. So first of all, just a little bit basics about what interface and all that is, then I'll come to programming also. So what is interface? I have written a keyword here, requirement outline. What do you understand? Like generally you have seen the definition of interface to be like, interface is a collection of methods, abstract methods, this kind of thing. That is also true, but basically, why is this interface used? Where will you use this interface? To answer that, I have given a definition that it's a requirement outline. For example, uh, there is like in the real environment, what happens? There's a client, company, client, maybe client can be normal users also, or client can be some other company as well. And then there are service provider, people like Infosys, IBM, who provide service to their clients. I'm talking about real scenario. Okay, now client will give certain requirements to service provider, right? Then service provider will understand those requirements and then prepare an outline and provide it to the client. Now what that outline is, to understand that, let's understand one example. For example, when we go to airport to print the ticket, right, or not ticket, meaning boarding pass, to take a e-boarding pass, there are certain machines, right, placed on the Bangalore airport or Delhi airport or Mumbai airport. If you go, there are certain machines placed, and there, if you go, you can just put the PNR number and you can get the e-boarding pass. Correct? Suppose that machine has to be created, and before that, the client went to the service provider saying that this is my requirement, and requirement is that I want a machine, you can say, where some the user can print e-boarding pass. Fine. Okay, service provider will do what? Fine, I understood the requirement. He or she will discuss and then come up with an outline, requirement outline. And that is that service provider will tell the client that, okay, this is what we have thought of, that there will be this kind of a display screen where there will be an option to enter PNR. Okay. And here it will say enter PNR. And once the user will enter PNR and click on this button, the next screen will be something like this, where there will be an option to, there will be a button here that will say print e-boarding pass. And then once the user will click on this, he will get his boarding pass printed. Okay. Now, this is the outline of the complete project. Yes or no? How exactly is it going to print? What is happening at the back end when I'm clicking on this button? How is this going to this display screen? Nothing is told to the client, right? A requirement outline is given to the client, correct? Initially. So this is what basically an interface is. So whenever you want to define just an outline of your project, you have to use interface. So what I will do here is, like, here I'm not right now as a service provider, I'm not aware of that, okay, what I'm going to do in this print, e-boarding pass module, what I'm going to do when a user will click on enter PNR or, click on this button. I'm not sure what exactly is going to happen. But I want to create an outline that, okay, these all things should be there. How it should be there, let it be left for later implementation. Then in that case, what I will do, I'll create an interface, okay, and that interface, I'll tell you how to create an interface later on. So I'll create an interface, okay, and in that interface, I will tell that, okay, there is two methods. There should be two functionalities of this project. One functionality is enter PNR, okay. Another functionality is print e-boarding pass. That's it. Later, how is this working? Not my headache as of now. So this is what actually interface is. Okay, when you are not aware of the complete implementation of any project or any idea, you can put it under interface. Or you can say initially when we start with the coding or start with designing of a project, we put it under this. Now I'll give you one example from Java, one of the interface. With that you will understand very easily what is how is this requirement outline. Okay, so Devanshu has asked, can you explain types of packages? Okay, Devanshu, there is no type of package as such. Uh, the way you import those packages, that is different. There in that there are types. Okay, so you have just direct reference, then you have static reference of the packages. So in that way, packages can be defined under different types. Okay, I'll explain you that as well. But let me complete interfaces first. Okay. So what I was saying is, let us go to take an example of Java no interface example, and then you will understand what exactly I said over here. So example is of your any package, maybe servlet. Okay, servlet is a package in Java. Now, sorry, servlet is an interface in Java. Now, why is this an interface? Any idea? Because it like guys, if you have to make any API is what? Application Programming Interface, where API can be integrated to any other app, any sort of applications, and then there they can make use of that API. Yes or no? So servlet is generally what? A kind of an API, meaning it is an interface itself. Implementation is using the concept of interface. Okay. Now in this there are certain methods defined, which methods are not having implementation. It's not given that how that method is going to work. Later on, this interface is being used by so many other classes. That is, one of the example is, sorry. So one of the example is like Tomcat server, Tomcat server. Then another is there can be so many other servlets which are making use of it depending upon their own requirement or their own functionality. They try to use it. Another one can be WebLogic server, and similarly others are there, guys. Okay, so what you understood with this, that why is the servlet API created as an interface? Because whenever like servlet API is telling that, okay, these functionalities should be there, how it should be there in the project, that let other classes define who are making use of this interface. Okay, so Tomcat server, WebLogic server, then there are many others. So these classes will make use of this servlet API. So with this Tomcat server will understand that, okay, I should have these methods, these functionalities in my code in this Tomcat server class. Okay, so interface is basically used for providing an outline of the requirements. How that requirement is going to work is not a work of interfaces. Basic idea or concept is it clear? Where is interfaces used in real time scenario? Where you will not be using classes and you will be going for interfaces. Did you got the idea? Where you will be knowing the complete implementation detail of anything, any project which you are going to define or develop, then you'll go with concrete classes. But if you're not very clear, you just know the outline, create an interface. Later on, for implementation, create the classes, use this interfaces there. Fine. So this is what interface is. Now, talking about these two important keywords of interface. But before that, how is interface created? What's the keyword? I think most of you would be knowing. If you are a very beginner to programming, then I will just quickly tell you. So interface is a keyword which is used. Okay. And then, okay, I'll go to the IDE itself and I will show you there itself how to create an interface. So I've created a project here already. So in this, I'll be going to new, and then here itself interface. I'm just clicking on this interface, and then I'll be providing a name to it. Suppose bank. I'm going to develop a banking application as a full-fledged example for you. So interface bank. Press enter. So you can see here it is using a keyword interface, then public, and then bank. So guys, interfaces are always public. Why? Because public keyword is used where to specify that okay, this particular module can be accessed by anyone, anywhere, inside the package, outside the package, any class, any other interface can use this. And as interface has only the outline, it has to be used by someone else, then only it can have its full-fledged implementation. So it should be having public keyword there. Okay, so this is how we create an interface. Easy. Now, here I will also create a class. Okay, suppose I'm creating a class as State Bank. Now, if I want to, okay, yeah, so that's why I have switched to IDE now, guys. Okay, so I've created a class here. Now, if I have to make use of this interface bank in this class State Bank, how can I do it? By using implements keyword. So implements, you can see here IMPLEMENTS is a spelling. This is the keyword which has to be used. So I'm going to implement the interface. So implements keyword, and after that the name of the interface, that is bank. In this case, interface bank, right? Bank is the name of the interface. So it implements bank. Done. Okay. Can I use extends over here? Extends is also a keyword, right? Can I use extends? No. It's saying no interface expected here. So I can use extends, but if I am making use of another class into the current class, then I have to use extends. If I am making use of interface, then it has to be implements itself. Getting it? But there is an exception to this also, guys. And that exception now I will tell you. I'm going to create one more interface here. Okay. So I'll just give a name, maybe service. No, bank services, so service, maybe services, fine, whatever. I've created one more interface here. Now, suppose I want to use bank interface into the services interface. I want to make use of bank interface into services interface. Then what will be the keyword here? Implements or extends? It will be implements bank, but it's showing me some error. No implements clause allowed for interface is the error. It means it should be extends. So did you get the idea here? What exactly happened? So when a class has to make use of interface, two different things there, class and interface, right? So class has to make use of interface. So in that case, the keyword to be used is implements. Okay. When a class has to make use of class, then the keyword used is extends. When an interface has to make use of interface, same things. Interface making use of interface, class making use of class, then the keyword to be used is extends. Okay. A class making use of another interface is implements. Can an interface make use of another class? If I write here implements, implements, then I can write state. Okay, sorry, state bank. Is this possible? No, right? Okay. Can I make use of extends here? No, meaning this is not allowed. Okay. So you can only extend or implement another class inside a class, another interface inside a class, another interface inside an interface. Okay. So this will be implements, another interface, that is your extends, and the other interface is bank. Right. So this is now correct. Can a class implement multiple interface? So this class is there, State Bank, right? So can it implement bank interface as well as services interface? Yes, it can. How to mention that? You can mention n number of multiple number of interfaces being implemented in a class, separating them with a comma. So bank, comma, services. Fine. Can a interface extend multiple interfaces, implement multiple interfaces? Yes, an interface can, extend multiple interfaces. So if there would have been one more interface, then I would have written here extends bank, comma, that interface. Clear? Like I can create one more interface for you, suppose. So let the name of the interface be, what else can be there? Okay, bank loan. Fine. So I can make use of an interface services extending two interfaces, bank and bank loan. Getting it? So an interface can extend multiple interfaces. So this was all about creation of interfaces. Now I'll go back to the slide deck. So here we spoke about extends and implements. Now I'm going to put a few questions to you people. Quickly answer it. Okay. Let's see how much you have understood basically this. So if I write x extends y, tell me when will this statement be correct or it will not throw any error, in which case it will not throw any error or it will be correct. When x is a class or an interface, when y is a class or an interface. Yes, this is the first question. X extends y. This will, sorry, this will not throw any error or there won't be any, problem here. If X is a class or an interface, Y is a class or an interface, you tell me. Raju has written error. These what? If there is a super class, then this will execute. Okay. Super class. Yeah, guys. So yeah, that's understood. That no, the other part of the code I have not written. I'm just writing one line here. And then I just want to know that assuming all other things are true, you have to tell X and Y. If X is a class or interface, Y is a class or interface. That's it. Okay. So Vijay Pratap, he said both must be class or interface. Okay. So when we use extends keyword, when both is a class or both is a interface. So yeah, you were right. Who answered this? Vijay Pratap, right? So both must be either classes or interfaces. So if X is a class and Y is a class, then true. If X is a interface, Y is an interface, then it's true. Okay. Now coming to the next question. Aishwarya said X is a class. Divyanshu said X is a class. Correct, actually. So X extends Y. X is a class. Class X extends class Y. Interface X extends interface Y. Coming to next question for you. X extends Y Z. Now you tell me. When will this be correct statement? If X is a class or interface, Y is a class or interface, Z is a class or interface. Ben Soy. Okay, so the topic of discussion is interface. Benson, sorry, I read your name incorrect. So Benson, the topic of discussion is what you are asking. So it is interface. So X extends Y and Z if I say, and if I ask you that this is true in which condition, when X is a class or a interface, Y is a class or interface, Z is a class or interface, then in that case, the answer is that X should, X is a class. Okay, guys, first of all, multiple inheritance is not there in Java. So keeping Java in mind, you have to answer. So X should be interface. Right now, I gave you an example here. See here, interface services extends bank and bank loan. So X extends YZ is what I'm asking you. In that case, all three should be interface only, right? So this should be interfaces. X, Y, and Z all should be interface. Okay, one more I'll be asking you, then I'll move ahead. A implements B comma C. Here you tell me. So A implements B and C. The statement will be correct in which case? If A is a class, B is a class, C is a class, or is it an interface? So it will be if A is a class and B and C are interface. Okay. Then the next question is, okay, is this possible? A implements, okay, I'll go to the ID itself to you for this. Okay, let's see here. So class State Bank implements bank, and then I want to write extends. Uh, okay, I'll create one more class here. Let the class be example. Fine. Now in this, I want to extend example class. Is this possible? It's saying some error that it's not possible. Can we write it in this way? Extends example, then implements bank. So now, yes, it is possible. So you can extend a class and implement an interface both at a time simultaneously for a given class. Okay, so extend class name, implements interface name. But make sure extend keyword should come first before I mean implements keyword. If I write implements bank first and extends example later on, it will throw an error. Right now I showed you. Correct? So these are small things which you have to keep in mind when you are writing the program here. For example, if I just delete this from here and if I try to write it over here, you will get an error. Okay? So just keep check on this order that first extends and then implement should be there. Okay, so now I'll come out of this topic and let me discuss now methods and interface. So we discussed everything about interfaces. Now let's talk about what all can be there inside a interface. So inside a interface there are methods. Okay, so interface, right now the interface example we took was bank. In this there will be methods. Okay, now these methods are, if I write void, first method is suppose withdraw money. So withdraw I will write here. Okay, the next method is void deposit. Two methods in the bank, deposit and withdraw. Guys, these two methods are by default public and abstract. Okay, these methods, even if you don't write the public and abstract keyword over here, it is by default appended by JVM. So it is public and abstract. Why it is public? So that this method can be accessed by another class which is implementing this interface. Okay, why is it abstract? It's abstract because interface provides the outline. It doesn't provide the implementation of the methods. That's why it should be abstract. Abstract method meaning it will not have its implementation there. It will just have its declaration there. So you can see it is ending with a semicolon, meaning there is no more implementation code here. For implementation, this interface has to be implemented to a class and there the implementation has to be provided. Okay. Okay, there is few questions, guys. So Navpreet, I just came, I was confused for a very long time. Plain shortly, why we use interface. Okay, Navpreet, I have spent a lot of time answering why we use interface, but yeah, I will cover it again in the end also, just for 5 minutes. So please stay tuned to the session from now onwards. Tushar, is this for 10th class student? It is for anybody who is interested in learning Java. Okay, because I'm talking very basics here. So yeah, so though these two methods, they are by default public and abstract. You need not write here every time, even though it is by default public and abstract. And why it is public and abstract, I told you. Now guys, talking about this access modifiers, if you are having public here, this method is already public, right? So which all modifiers can't be used? So if you are using public, then you cannot use private modifier there for sure. You cannot use protected. Means you can't have public, private, abstract, void, withdraw. Getting it? If you're using abstract keyword, then which all modifiers you can't use along with abstract? If you're using abstract, okay. So if you are using abstract, then you can't use final. You can't use strict FP. You can't use synchronized. Synchronized. What else? Final, strict FP, synchronized. These cannot be used. And then you cannot use um, static. You can't use native also. So these are the keyword modifiers, no access modifiers which you can't use with these methods inside an interface. Okay, so it can't be like a same method abstract as well as final. A method cannot be static as well as abstract. Clear? So these are the very important tips here which you can remember to answer many questions asked in the interviews. Okay, okay, once again, Meet LinkedIn ID. Okay, you will get my LinkedIn ID. Let me complete the session first. Okay, fine. So this was about methods. Now what else can be there in interface? Variables can be there in interface, right? So interface. Guys, I'm going to talk few interesting hacks about these methods and variables inside the interface. I'll quickly go to the IDE and talk there. So first, try to see here, what exactly I'm saying, that what all can be there in interface. So methods we saw, variables can be there in interface, meaning I can write int x equals to 5. Even though I write any access modifier here or don't, by default, these are public, static, final. Okay. So public, static, and final. Why it is public? Because it can be accessed outside this interface by some other class. Why is it static? Because it should not need an object to access this um, variable. Okay. So X variable can be accessed outside this interface without any object. That's why it is static. Final meaning you cannot change the value of X anywhere else. Meaning it's like a constant. Once the value defined, it should be same. You cannot alter its value. That's why it is final. Now guys, you must be thinking, why is there a whole concept of variable itself when you're fixing the value here? So guys, in the real scenario, if I talk about, so we use the concept of variables in interface to define some constant terms, like really like which should not be manipulated or changed over the course of time. So there can be certain situation, right, when in the real scenario when we write program. So there we use the concept of variables under interface. Otherwise, mostly variables are not there in interface. Okay. So public static final. So final is for that. We cannot change or alter the value of this variable. Now, as I said, it should not be, we should not change the value of this variable. It means what? Some value should be assigned there. If I don't assign any value here, you will get a compile time error. Okay. Now, I will go to IDE. Okay. So, let me just quickly remove this. We'll see some tips and tricks here, guys, quickly with related to so this example I'm closing. I don't want this also. So I just want to make use of two interface. One interface is interface bank service interface. Okay. So this also I don't want. So one interface is there, that is services. Then there is one class state bank, that is implementing both bank and services. Fine. Now in this, what I want to do is, let's have a variable over here. Okay. So this variable is suppose int registration number of the bank. So registration number, and its number is 456. Okay. Now in this also I am going to define the same registration number, same variable. Okay. Registration number 456. In this interface also it's same variable. In this also it is same variable. Okay. Here, if I try to make use of this registration number, system dot out. Okay, I should have the main method first of all. Public static void main string a1. Okay. Now in this I'll make use of system dot out dot println, and it was, what was the name? Registration number. So registration number. If I just write this, it is going to throw me an error because I am making use of both these interfaces, and which interface registration number variable I'm trying to access, it's not clear. So to access this, how you can make use of it? You have to use the name of the interface before that. Okay. So bank dot registration number will call the registration number variable of bank interface, and the other one services dot registration number will call the value from here. Suppose I give it as a 8897. And if I run this code, There won't be any error. It will run successfully. So you can see the output 456897, right? So you understood. Now, what next I want to talk here is that, okay, I will not make use of, okay, I'll comment this line. Okay, I'll make use of only one interface. Okay, now if I try to change the value of this variable, I want to assign it something like this. It is throwing me compile time error itself. This red line meaning compile time error, cannot assign a value to final variable is what it is saying. I have not declared is at final, but by default it is final variable. I cannot change its value in this class. So what I'll do here is, now you tell me what happened exactly. If I write int before this, although it was int over here also, right? It's the same variable name, registration number, reg underscore number. Now if I'm trying to assign it a different value, I'm able to do it. So what happened exactly at the bank? So what happened was that this is a new variable which is created for this class. Okay, it's no more referring to the same variable of interface class. Sorry, of interface. Okay, so this registration number of this class and this registration number are two different variables now. Okay, fine. So now let's go back to one more example here. If I write services, and I'm just going to delete all these. Okay. Now here I'm going to define a method void uh, loan. Okay. In this also I'm going to define void loan. Now what will happen? In state bank class, I'm implementing both bank and services, and both these interfaces are having one method loan, same method, same name, same signature, same parameters, everything same return type. In that case, I have to first, it will ask me to implement these methods. So you can see it is asking me to implement only one method, that is loan. Although I have implemented both these interfaces, bank and services, but as there was same method in both the interfaces, if I implement only one method, it's fine here. It won't throw any error in Java. Clear? Okay, now Preet has a question. Why we have to instantiate class objects and sometimes we don't? Like here we have used registration number without class object, but just class dot variable. Okay, so now Preet, to answer your question, this registration number is by default static, and wherever you have used the keyword static, so this is by default static by JVM. Any variable declared inside interface is by default static. Anywhere in Java programming, if you have used static keyword before a method or before a variable, you don't need an object to call that variable, or you don't need an object to call that method. Okay, so static is something like it exists in the global scope, where just by its name or class dot name you can access it. I hope I am clear. So those cases where you have static keyword before the variable or a method, you don't need to instantiate a object for the class. Now Preet, I hope I have answered your question. uh, Karthik has a question. Can I use package with same name which will instantiate? Can I use package with the same name which will instantiate? You mean to say different packages with the same name? Different packages with the same name of the method? I didn't get your question. I mean, okay, fine. I'll go ahead quickly. We have very less time left. So yeah, so that's what I was talking. You can have just one implementation here of only one method. So guys, whenever you are implementing any interface in a class, all the methods which are there in those interfaces has to be overridden or implemented in the current class where you are implementing those interfaces. Okay, that is a must thing. Without that, you will get compile time error. Now if I change, suppose in this loan I am passing some string parameter name of the person, in that case then it will ask me to implement both the methods. So you can see here, then now I have to, although the name is same, but as the parameter is different, there is a concept of method overloading. Okay, so I have to implement override both of these methods. Okay, loan method which is in bank class, and the second one is loan with a parameter string name which is in services class, services interface. Okay, now if I have uh, okay, same method, I will change this. Okay, I'll have same methods now in the services interface as well as in bank interface, but the return type will be different here, suppose. Now what will happen? Then in that case, it says the where went, huh? Int loan, meaning it is returning a type of int, and here it's not returning any type. Now it says a error here that loan in state bank clashes with loan in services. Although guys, the name of the method here is same, the parameter being passed is also same, but overriding it only once will not work if the return type is also different. Okay, if the method is completely same, then only you can use. No, this is not method overloading, Navpreet. Method overloading is the previous example where two methods with the same name but different parameters are there. Okay, that is your method overloading. Here there are two methods with the same name, same parameter, but return type is different. Return type doesn't comes under method overloading concept. It is not part of method signature in Java. Okay, so that's why it says it's an error here. It is clashing, meaning you cannot have two methods with the same name in two different interfaces but being implemented in a same class with a different return type. This is not possible at all. Getting it? It will throw an error here. So you can have either same return type, or you can have here maybe a parameter, a completely different function itself, a completely different method itself. Then it will ask to override the method, and now it is correct, right? So, okay, few tips and tricks also I gave you with respect to interface and packages. Now, guys, quickly, what is marker interface? So there's a concept of marker interface in Java where an interface which is not having any implementation, meaning if I write interface and I write A here, and in this there is no method, nothing is there, it's empty, then it is marker interface. Why is this marker interface used then if there is nothing to be, then nothing inside, there's no method inside? These are used for providing some abilities to the code, to the class, meaning to the class. Which kind of abilities? If there is nothing here, who is providing these abilities first of all? This is provided by JVM. Okay. What kind of abilities? Example of marker interface. So example of marker interface is clonable. Okay, wrong spelling. Clonable. Okay. Clonable interface is a marker interface. When we make use of this clonable interface in any class, we can create a duplicate object. We can create a duplicate object. Now you must be thinking, if there is nothing inside, Still, we are able to have a ability to a class, that is your, we can have duplicate object if we are making use of this clonable marker interface. This ability is provided with the help of JVM, meaning JVM provides it. We can create our own marker interface also, but for that you have to make change in the JVM, guys. So basically we don't make use of marker interface. Okay. Difference between, okay guys, I'll take up your questions now. So difference between packages and interface. Package and interface. Okay, package will consist of sub packages. It will have further classes. It will have interfaces also inside it, right? So package is like a folder where you are arranging all your classes, all your interfaces of a particular project or a code. Okay. Uh, Interface is a programming construct where there will be only a method and a variable. Variable is static and final. Method is abstract and public. Getting it? Interface provides just the outline of your complete project, but package consists of everything that your project is having. Okay. Devyanshu, the third question is advantage of interface. Advantage of interface, I'll talk here. When we make use of interface and concrete class, basically these two you understand, you will understand the difference. So whenever we have to use the outline of any code, for example, suppose I want that there should be a bank uh, a module, okay, and in this bank module there should be two common function, withdraw and deposit, okay. But now I want there should be a state bank, then there is suppose ICICI bank, then there is suppose what Union Bank. These should also have this withdraw and deposit methods, okay. Withdraw and deposit method. Here also it should be withdraw and deposit method. Here also it should be withdraw and deposit method, but with their own implementations. So what we will do is that in place of just directly going and creating these, we'll have a interface bank which will have just these two abstract methods, which is saying that okay, every bank should have these two withdraw and deposit functions for sure. So what in this case it is saying that State Bank should implement this bank. ICICI Bank should also implement this bank. Union Bank should also implement this bank. Now this will make sure that okay, these two methods are for sure in each of the banks. So are you getting a real view how we make use of interface, where we make use of interface? Now in concrete class, what happens when we know the implementation? Like okay, I know ki fine in the bank for withdraw, know that okay, this should be the steps of withdrawing a money, and it is same for all the banks, all the for these banks, ICICI Bank, Union Bank, State Bank, it is same. Okay, then no need of interface. Here itself you write all the steps which has to be followed for withdrawing money. In all these banks it will be same. Then there we use concept of inheritance. In deposit, if I know that what how the deposit of money steps are followed and the process of depositing money is same across all the banks, okay fine, I'll provide the implementation code here itself. I don't need to make it abstract. Then it will become what? A class bank, right? Which will have this withdraw and deposit methods and its implementation also. This can be further extended to other bank, I mean other these classes, ICICI Bank, Union Bank and State Bank class. But this is called as inheritance. This is not interface. So are you getting where we can use concrete class and where we can use interface? So yeah, Manikandan, I have answered your question. You asked difference between class and interface. So you can see here, this is an interface where there are abstract methods. And this is a class where the methods are having the implementation codes as well. It's not abstract. It's not ending with a declaration there. It's not just a method declaration, it's a method implementation also in the classes. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's all we discussed about packages and interface today. I also gave you a few tips and tricks to keep in mind, like very small things, right? But keeping this in mind will help you solve or debug very complex codes many a times and even answer very complex interview questions when you appear for interfaces and packages. I hope I have answered all these. Okay, so question from Aishwarya was here all these banks are classes or interfaces? Classes. State Bank, ICICI Bank, Union Bank are all classes. Okay, this is the interface, the main bank here. Neha Verma has asked how to create string in Java. Okay, although it was not a topic, but fine. String is a class in Java. If you make an object of string class, so string class name space object name equals to new string. This is also how you create it, but most likely we use string s1 equals to assign a value to the string if you want. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's it for the session. It was lovely talking to you guys. It was really interactive as you people kept on asking questions. So always I like this kind of interaction and sessions. So it was a lovely session, guys. Hope to see you soon. Okay, so thank you.